Okay, my name's Paul Bennett and I've built an indoor golf venue.
So, I said to Layla Nottage, who's been looking after all the social media, you can ask me whatever you want. When I finished the build, because she asked me loads of questions along the way, I said, you can ask me whatever you want. So, we sat down ready to do that. I sat down a minute ago and said to her, okay, do you want to run me through all the questions? And she said no. so I said, no, come on, tell me the questions. And she's not told me the questions. So I'm going blind on all this, but we're about to, I'm a bit nervous because I'm about to be interviewed. Here we go.
Question number one. What made you want to build an indoor golf venue? Why?
I like business and I like sport, so mixing them together seemed a good idea. 4 years ago, when I thought about this as a concept and an idea, there was hardly any in the country, and I chose the name, trademarked it, and spent 3 years trying to find the right venue, to be honest. But I felt as though there was a gap in the market for people that want to learn the game, maybe get a bit intimidated by the golf clubs and the stigmas that are around it. So I thought, let's try and find an all-inclusive facility where people can learn, enjoy, practice and train. So this is it.
Tell me how it felt in those first few weeks. Empty warehouse, how'd it feel?
It's a good question. Where do I start? It's probably the first one. I always knew it was going to be shaped by who I met along the way, so the whole build really has actually, whilst I did plan it for like quite a number of years, it changed, and I actually only got this premises quite late in the day because I was waiting for about 15 months on another premises. So the project was different in there, so I had to adapt it to this building because the big indoor sort of short game area was never appearing in any of the other projects because this is like the fourth venue that I've had for this place, and that wasn't so. It was almost like once I got the keys, there was no turning back because I'd committed to a 10-year lease. So I just had to. I often spend time just standing back and looking at the space and just trying to visualize it finished, and then you've got to work out how to get from A to B, B being finished and A being empty warehouse. So. I wasn't as daunted as I might feel because I have been planning it for quite a while, but it's just getting things in the right order because you don't want to have to do things twice, you know. But no, I've been pretty chilled throughout, and I've had some good tradesmen, which makes it feel a lot easier.
And you said early on, or you said in one of the videos, that you do enjoy watching a grand design. Was there something in this for you about building something from the ground up? That empty warehouse, was that kind of key? You started from nothing.
I'm a bit lost if I'm not doing something, if I haven't got a project on the go. So yeah, I've always loved grand designs. That is quality when you see either a nothing or a really old run-down building, and then the people that have got the vision, when you see it at the end, it just thinks, well, it's impossible to get from A to B. Now I look at it how it looks, and from what it was, it's actually quite cool to think, yeah, I did that. So I think it's fair to say it won't ever go back to what it was, but no, it's nice to turn something cool from something that was pretty much a nothing.
Tell me what your family thought about this idea then, back then and now.
I've done sort of harebrained project ideas for about the last 30 years. My wife Lindsay, I think because I've got it right more often than I've got it wrong, my wife Lindsay lets me get on with it, would be a fairer way of putting it. They're cool with it. My kids, Sonny and Wilson, are 13 and 15, and they're quite, they kept saying, oh, you won't do it, Dad, you just talk about it. Just talk about it, like a lot of the ideas I come up with and never do. So I've proved them wrong on this one. But yeah, they're quite happy. There's always lots going on in our household, so this is just me out the house a little bit longer than normal, to be honest. But yeah, they're cool.
Okay, so we did have some questions from social media. So I'm going to start with Ryan MC's question from TikTok. He said, what made you want to build an indoor golf centre when you say you don't play yourself?
Well, it's similar to the first question, really. I like business and I like sport. I did spend a lot of time planning an indoor football centre, actually, so that's always been on my radar as well, because it's like, where's the gap, you know what I mean? My lad plays football, and the amount of times things have rained off, or just training is just standing in the freezing cold dark weather. The same goes with golf. I joined a local golf course and I was a member for a few years, and I like the idea of playing on a weekend. Do you think you can get a tee time on a weekend? Absolutely not. There's all the roll-ups that are there, unless you're part of that clique, which is difficult to integrate into, especially if you're learning. So I couldn't play, and then on a few times I did want to play, either the weather was so bad, the course was shut. The course I was a member at, there was a lot of fog there as well, so the amount of times I went up there and then the fog rolled in, you had to get off the course. It's almost like I had so little time. Golf takes up quite a lot of time. When you put a day aside for it and then you can't play, it's a bit frustrating. So I thought, let's try and fix it.
Dave from TikTok says, is this a left-handed friendly venue?
Yes, and right-handed. So, because the bays, it's a good question, because if your bays are quite thin or quite narrow, then you always ideally want to hit into the middle of the screen. So if your bays need to be wide enough to be able to hit right-handed and left-handed, because with the longest club, like a driver, it goes quite far behind you. So if your walls are close, you have to hit off centre if you've got quite a narrow bay. If you're hitting off centre, then you either need to move a launch monitor if it's a floor-based one, or if it's a ceiling-based launch monitor, you need two of them. And so, but in answer to the question, our bays are wide enough. We've got a centrally located launch monitor, which means you can hit left-handed or right-handed and still tee up in the middle of the bay. So absolutely, it'll be exactly the same experience for both.
And Carl's on TikTok wants to know, is this the first one you've opened?
Yeah, probably the only one as well. Yeah, I've thought about the franchise model with this, and I think it's a very franchisable model. The logo, the branding's strong. The premises is the difficult thing to open in another area, because whilst the building needs the eaves height, because the bays need to be at least 3.5 meters high, and then you put an indoor practice area and you need higher again. But it's the parking as well. That's one of the key things, because a lot of people are going to want to bring their own clubs. So I haven't opened another one. There's probably a conversation if someone else wants to, under the same branding, but it's not on my radar at the minute. But maybe in the future, who knows?
Okay, we're not going to mess around now. The question everyone wants to know, what was your original budget?
I thought money would come into it at some point. Being honest, right, I thought I'd get this built for 350 grand. So there's...
And what's the reality? What have you spent?
Well, in true Grand Design style, I've probably doubled that. I think it's topped 700 grand.
And tell me, where did the costs go up? What were the surprises? What were the unexpected costs? What were the shocks? Tell me about that.
Okay, there's even with all the planning in the world, there's always stuff that you don't expect. I think why the costs have gone up so much, I wasn't like madly whilst I've spent double what I planned to, I've actually built more than I was planning to, because I was opening a 3-bay centre and I've built 5 bays in the end. And one of the reasons for that is because I was trying to keep it to myself, budget wise, but I ended up having an opportunity to have a couple of investors come in on the project. One's a very close friend of mine, and another one is my brother, which I've mentioned in previous. So the combined input from those two was is 160,000. So that having that opportunity, I thought, well, yes, I have a lesser percentage of the business, but the business will be bigger and the turnover will be bigger. So I don't know, if you watch Dragon's Den, they'll often say they'd rather have a smaller percentage of a bigger business. So I did the maths and it made sense, and it allowed us to, I always said it would be shaped by who I met, and you know, meeting Sammy and Eugenie and having a couple of golf pros on site opened up the coaching side of things, which then allowed bays 4 and 5 to be incorporated into the build. So these bays cost like, you know, the build, the equipment, the computers, the trackman, the projectors, the screens, the turf, you know, they're in excess of 50 grand a bay. You know, because we've gone with trackman, there's a lot cheaper launch monitors we could have used, but we wanted the best. So yes, the budget went over, but we incorporated a lot more. Also the finish, as it started to progress, I realised that I could do the minimum or I could make it really nice, and I thought, let's just go all in. Things like the bars looking really smart in there now, and there's all the paneling that we've done. The trackman, the company Gasp that fitted the trackman told me to go with, I think, 24-inch screens in each bay. I thought that was too small for the size of the bays, and I went for 32-inch screens. Same as the Sky Sports stuff. But yeah, so I built a bigger and better venue than I was originally planning, and that's why the budget went over so much. Some of the unexpected stuff keeps on coming, you know. For those that have been in hospitality, you'll know about the music licenses and things like that. I'm used to paying sort of a few hundred quid for them. It's like, I think 1,300 quid just for your music license. You think, geez. When we did the knock through, I had like a guy had to come and survey the lintel that was going above the knock through, and you know, like, I think he was here for 20 minutes, and you know, there's 400 quid plus VAT or something. And there has just been, you look at Sky Sports, again, you're talking best part of £1,000 a month for Sky Sports, but that's the sort of thing that I wanted to go bigger and better with the venue, and I realised I wanted to go sort of quite premium with everything. So yeah, there's so many things that as I've gone along, I've thought, well, I can do it that way or I can do it this way, let's do it the better way. And that's where the money's crept up, really. If I stopped and thought about all other things, I can probably, you know, come up with a load more. But mainly the finish, I think we have spent more because I wanted it to be nice. And then once you got things to a certain level, then it looks a bit odd if you don't follow suit with everything else. But I do still think it's a business that will evolve though. I'm already got plans on putting an indoor putting studio into a new space that we've got. Launch monitors in the hitting bays will come. I'm even thinking about buying a food van so we can provide food to the customers that will be our own food rather than, you know, so there's loads more that will come. Force plates and high-speed cameras, they're also on the radar as well. So I'd love to have opened with everything, but I've sort of had to draw the line because I'm already down the back of the sofa looking for change to finish the thing off. But there you go, there's a bit of an insight into the wedge that's been spent on this.
Why Trackman? Why pick them?
Oh man, Trackman is just a brand, yeah. The launch monitors are the little boxes that track the swing and the club speed, and they're the thing that give you all the data and give you that little tracer that, you know, when you hit a ball. If you turn the golf on the telly and look at all the pros, probably a couple of years ago they would all have the little orange boxes behind all their bays in the range. That was the Trackman tech. The best players use it. It's probably the most expensive. I spoke to a lot of people and I looked at loads of reviews. The people I spoke to in the golfing world, I don't think there was one person that didn't say that Trackman is the best. And when you look online at all the reviews, I did look at using others, I considered it, but it was pretty apparent that Trackman was the best. And when I looked into it, they seemed to be an immaculately run company, and they do the full package for indoor venues as well, because all of the software, the back office software, the booking software, the payment software, they do the lot. So it's a good one-stop shop. And whilst it's expensive, the kit's expensive, you know, it just became apparent if you want to build a really sort of prestigious venue, then that's what needs to go in it. So that was it really, a bit of homework, asking people, a bit of market research basically.
Why did you pick a female coaching team?
I've got to be honest, I didn't plan it. Okay, I always said this business would shape around who I met. I definitely wanted a female professional in here because I honestly thought there might have been 3, or if there was 2, it would probably be a male and a female. I just know from experience with hospitality, and I'm a dad as well, that you don't want to exclude anyone. And the ethos behind this business was about trying to make golf a little bit more inclusive for those that didn't feel that comfortable maybe going and playing on a course, or that didn't want to commit to the £1,000 membership that most courses are getting close to. But it wasn't, I didn't go out, whilst I've championed having female pros and I'm really happy that they're both here, ultimately they're the best 2 professional golfers that I've spoke to others, and they're the best 2 that I've crossed paths with. And I did want at least one female so that there was a balance, but I've ultimately given those 2 positions to the best 2 people that have been in the building. So to me it's irrelevant they're both female, but now they are here, let's champion it, because I think that, I might be wrong and you might comment otherwise on this, but I think that female coaches will appeal to men, women and kids, probably more so than if I'd have had a couple of male coaches in here. And I can say that because I'm a bloke, but no, ultimately it wasn't the plan. I know I've championed it. It's not like that was the intention. It wasn't the idea at the start. It's just that I met Sammy first, and she's been absolutely brilliant. And she's brought to the table the enthusiasm, the professionalism, and she's sharp as a button as well. And that is what I wanted from my general manager, irrelevant of male or female, but she's been awesome. Eugenia's only been here for a few shifts now, and she's absolutely awesome too. She's got an amazing personality. The customers are going to love her, and I'm just really, really blessed to have those 2 here. And the best people got the positions that stepped in the building, so that's all I can say about that really.
Tell me about the other tradespeople that you have worked with. Just tell me about your history with them, who they are, who you've surrounded yourself with in this build.
Okay, so I've obviously been in the hotel game for 20 years, and one of those projects was building a hotel, like extending one of the hotels I had complete from scratch. So over the years, I've crossed paths with quite a few tradesmen. Big shout out goes to Bart, first of all. I go back 25 years with Bart. He built the extension on my house. He helped build a big project at the hotel. I've had holiday lets as well that he's done work on as well. He's been brilliant. He stops to listen to the radio for the radio quizzes on the radio every day. He'll have about 4 lunches a day. He will shoot off at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock for golf. But do you know what? I know his quirks, and he's an amazing builder. He's quick as you like. He's totally reliable. And do you know what the best thing about him's been? Is even though there's never been a conversation about him project managing the job, he has always really given a shit about this project. And no matter who else has walked in the building, tradesman-wise, he has had eyes on what everyone else is doing, and he's picked them up. When it hasn't been his job to do it, it's more awkward to pick up someone else's work, but he's been looking out for me the whole project, and he's been ace. So, and with Bart's comes Matt, who's just been so reliable as ever. He's worked in Bart's team. Roger, the Sparky, is just adorable. You just want to hug him every day. He's brilliant. He's worked me out though. Every time I went walking up to him with a big smile and put my arm around him, he knew I had another plug socket or another little job that I'd forgotten about that needed doing. But he's been brilliant. He's put in so many hours into this project as well. Shout out to Southwest Green, Warren and his team. You know, this is an unusual project. This is not a standard project, you know, putting what we've done in an unusual space. So him and his team have done an amazing job at building the short game area. And with the trials and tribulations we've had, we've worked them out along the way. Other big work has come from Gasp, who are the company based in Exeter, who have fitted the TrackMan equipment into each of the bays. Again, importantly, they've not left till it's been right. There's been things that have been needed attention, and they've come straight back and they've taken pride in their work. I can't afford to miss people out now. Danny from Home Flooring, reliable, all the floors were done. Murray, Southwest Shop Fitters. God, Murray built a bar for me at Marjohn's when I was Ents manager up there 30 years ago. So again, he's done work on the hotels. High level of work, reliable, come when they need to. You've got Steve at Plymstock Security, did all the cameras. Now I've started naming them all, I'm going to forget some, aren't I? But Steve Power has also done some cables for me. None of the delays on the internet were Andy Maskell, Southwest Data, did all the internet stuff for me. None of the delays were down to him, but he's made sure he kept on them and got there in the end. So we've all got them in. That's brilliant. And there's been a lot of other tradesmen. Sean Cam, that's helped out with plastering, has just been here working all the hours God sends, and all the team, my team that picked up brushes and stuff like that. They've all done stuff, but there's been a load of tradesmen that I don't know as well, from the brookies to people that have come and helped out with some painting. Dan Turton's done all the audio equipment and the TV system. Again, absolute quality throughout. I'm bound to have forgotten someone really important now. I'm sorry about that if I have, but everyone's been great. But the big shout for Bart's, because he's just been here every day from day one, and him and Matt and Roger have just really looked after me, and I owe them big time. Cheers, boys.
What has been the single most biggest challenge with this project?
The things that have been hardest are the things that have been out of my control. Because no matter how many hours you put in, if you don't have the skill set to fix it, or it's not your job to fix it, or you're not allowed legally to fix it, then it's a waiting game. The leaks were a problem. It shouldn't really have been a problem. I'd have been better off telling them I'd have sorted them myself, but then you suddenly take on the responsibility of if it goes wrong again, or if there's future problems, like the guys that actually were here to fix the leaks. You know, they opened up a seal, it would seem, that caused another problem. You know, suddenly you're owning the new problems if you get people to do it. So, and like the internet, there's all the legal wayleave side of things behind the scenes that it's just a waiting game when they come in. So yeah, whilst those were probably the bigger of the two things, the internet and the leaks, it's because they were out of my control. I couldn't fix them, and I couldn't employ someone to fix it. Then they weren't my job to do. Yeah, I'd have to say, in a nutshell, it's anything that I couldn't control, which there wasn't much, to be honest, because most people I did employ to do the work, but there are certain things, because I'm in a leased building, there are some things that just I have to wait.
Tell me what your most shocking day was. Was there a moment, was there a day where you were just like, I have had enough, and when was it and what happened?
I've always been pretty upbeat during the project, if I'm honest, because I quite like it. I quite like the pressure of just getting stuck in and trying to work out what to do next and when and how to fix it. I think my grumpiest was on day 100 actually, when I realised that I thought, what a great idea, let's film some videos, initially for my own benefit, and it's ended up being lots of people saying, I can't wait for the next video, so I ended up sort of, and with Layla's help obviously, making them look a bit more professional than the one takes I was doing in the early stages. But that day 100, it dawned on me just, I'd probably bitten off a bit more than was possible to keep it within that 100 days, and I was just grumpy that day. I think I was painting all day. There was rubbish everywhere. Dust was getting on all my paint, and yeah, I just had a bad day, I think. But yeah, the things that have got me down the most have probably been the bloody leaks, because I kept asking and nothing was ever getting done. And then you get a date, and then that get pushed back, and then that get pushed back again. But I'm sure, but ultimately we weren't open, so the pressure's been off by being closed. I do think probably the more stressful days are to come when you have a commitment to your customers who have paid you money or are relying on you for a service or a special birthday or a corporate day, a special occasion. And then I'm needing equipment to hold up, I'm needing power to hold up, I'm needing the roof to hold up. So I think the more stressy days are to come. They'll come when we're open.
Tell me the biggest joys of this project. What have been the days where you're actually like, it's just felt fantastic?
You know, when you look in your mirror over a period of time, you don't really see yourself change, do you? But then people tell you you've changed, or you see other people now and again. So a lot of people, when they walk in, they can't believe how different it is from maybe when they've been before. I haven't seen that because I've been here every day. I think one of my favourite things has been people's comments to me. I had a message over the weekend from someone I haven't seen for a few months, and it started off with, "Thank you, Paul." He said, "I've been watching your videos, every single one," and he said, "You've inspired me to get off my arse and do some things that I just was either feeling too lazy about, or I didn't have the balls to get started with." And they're the things, it certainly wasn't my intention to sort of like make other people feel motivated, but I do think the best things are when you get comments like that, feel good factors. They've been the best things. And also just seeing the passion and commitment and support from the likes of Andy and Sammy and the new staff now. It's like, that gives me a real buzz that they're so excited and enthused about the project and how much time and effort they've put in since they've been involved. So yeah, it's just making others feel good, and the positivity behind a lot of the social media stuff has been really nice. It's nice when people say that they've enjoyed watching the progress. I hope they feel as good when it's open and they enjoy coming, but we'll see.
I'm not a golfer, so forgive my language here, but what do you play off at the moment?
What's my handicap?
Yeah.
It's actually just gone up. After my third round of the year on Friday, I shot 96, which if you play golf, you know that's rubbish. I've gone up to 16.6. Yeah, I'm not playing very well.
And what's your goal now? You've got two female coaches in the building. So with the ladies here, have you got any goals?
Well, Sammy had a look at my swing, and it's like a lot of people. You might play pretty dodgy. You go to the driving range, you can make a few little tweaks. I've had a few hits in the bays, and Sammy's like tweaked my swing massively, and I'm gonna persevere with this now. I'm determined to try, and well, if I get time to play any golf, it'll be nice to see if I can get down to single figures. You know, actually get that swing going, get it grooved. But I think my bigger goal is to try and make this work financially than any handicap. But
now that you've finished, that the venue is there, it's looking gorgeous, what do your family think when they come up here? What do Lindsay and the boys think? And are your boys into golf?
My boys aren't into golf, but maybe they might be soon, because having this at their disposal, I'd like to think that they'll enjoy coming up. They've come and have a hit up here, and there's, as well as, this is not a plug here, but as well as the courses and the driving range, there's loads of other games on there which are more fun if you actually, because the courses and that are great if you can actually get round a little bit, you know, if you can swing a club. But the games are a good introduction because it's still golf, it's still either putting or chipping, but you haven't got to worry about hitting it so far and stuff like that. So they've loved doing that. Lindsay's, as always, has got loads on her plate. She has been up here, she's been helping, she's been painting, and she often helps me at home as well with I chuck ideas at her, and she's as honest as they come with me, and she'll tell me half of the ideas are crap, and I do value her opinion. So she's chipped in behind the scenes quite a lot more than people realise. But just what she does for our family to allow me to be here most of the day also is the biggest help. But they all are really excited about it. They're proud of it, which is good, and that's the best feeling I could hope for.
I kind of want to know, what have you learnt about yourself through this project? It sounds worthy, but you can't go through this and not learn something.
Well, I've done other projects like this, you know, and I've completed them. I don't like things being out of my control, and whenever I've done all the other projects, I've owned the building. This is the first time I've rented the building. I don't like that bit because there's a lot of it that's out of your control. I also know when it's your own building, you change it, you reap the benefits of it. Normally when you improve a building, obviously this is all internal, and even though I wouldn't want the landlords watching this to comment on it, this is going to be very difficult to put back to what it was. So this has got to work, this business. Hopefully that will be to the benefit of the landlords, because they don't want to keep swapping tenants. So if it works, I'm going nowhere. But I've learned that leasing and renting, it's the only option when you need this floor space, because this building would probably cost 3 million quid if you were to buy it, and that didn't make the project feasible. So, but what have I learned about myself? You know, I think I'm fairly resilient because I haven't really wavered to the point where I thought I'm not going to carry on with this. I remember building a wall in lockdown. It took me about 11 weeks every day at home. I built a wall. And it's like 6 foot high and about 6 miles long, I think. But it was the same kind of mindset where I've started it, so I will finish it. And I've managed to stay pretty positive throughout, really. What else have I learned? I'm a bit of a lunatic for taking on stuff like this. I'm 52 next week. I shouldn't really be probably putting so much on the line, because I've literally, in poker terms, done an all-in really on this and more. So I probably shouldn't have risked my lifelong works on this, but I have. But I've also learned that I back myself, and if you do, I am a gambler, but I'm a calculated gambler. So I think if you scrutinise your numbers, don't over-project, then that's probably a safe place to be.
What will you take away from this experience? Would you ever do anything like this again, and what would you say to anyone thinking about doing something similar?
Yeah, I'll do this till I die. Doing projects like this probably. I've already looked at another premises for another project, but I think I just need to just get this open and ready, and trading. Yeah, I think it's just in my DNA really. I'm doing sort of silly little curveball projects.
Would you encourage other people to have a go?
Yeah. Well, actually, there's another indoor golf centre opened in Plymouth, so it's a bit like buses. But a lot of people have said to me, talked to me about that one opening, and I was like, awesome. You know, I don't know the guy that's done it, but I was like, you know, I tip my hat to anyone that can take on a project and get it to the point of opening it. You know, and then there's enough people to go around. Trust me, there's enough people that play golf. I've only got 5 bays, so good luck to anyone else that is thinking of doing a project, you know. And it takes balls to do these kind of things, but I do think it's in your mindset, because you have to risk things. You have to risk quite a lot of stuff to take on projects, because ultimately there's nearly always borrowing involved, and you've just got to be conservative with your projections. To be honest, that's the key to this, so that if things don't go quite as well as you hope, then you'd plan for that. Because things take time to get off the ground. You know, when the sun's out here, I'm going to struggle, I think, you know, because it will be more fun and better to be outside on a real golf course than being in here. But hopefully when it's raining now, I won't be as miserable as I used to be, because I'll be thinking, okay, should be busy today.
Any final thoughts, anything I haven't asked you that you wanted to say, or, you know, anything else?
To be honest, thank you to you, because you've helped get this out there a bit. But just a big thanks to everyone really that's put up with me sometimes being grumpier and a bit demanding. But this is a business, you know, this is not just a passion that doesn't matter when, you know, I've got frustrated because I'm conscious of every day's money. Every time I rock up here and there's tons of cars in the car park, every one of them's being paid by me to be here. So, but the final thoughts are just a big thanks to everyone. I hope you can all come and support it. Come and stick your head in, say hello. Really keen for feedback because I want to make the place as good as it can be, and everyone will be using it for a different reason. Some might be to try golf for the first time, some might be because you've started but don't quite want to take that leap of faith and go and play in a real course yet, where you might be worried about holding people up or that you're not quite good enough yet. There might be some really great golfers out there that really want to refine their skills, and we've got the tech for you in here to do that too. So everyone's going to use it differently, but talk to us because we're going to shape it so that it works for you. Okay, I've answered all your questions now, so thanks very much for watching the journey. And remember, from swinging a club in a bird shit ridden warehouse, we did it. That's it. Over and out.